In today's video tutorial, I'm going to start to show you how to transition from block-based coding in Scratch over to real coding using a language called Python. Now all we're going to do today is draw a simple triangle on the screen in Scratch, and then we're going to jump over to a program called Mu, where we're going to start to use Python to code up the same triangle on the screen. It is fairly simple. Okay, you want to start quite easy as you make the transition from beginners kind of coding using these blocks over to real text-based coding. Okay, so let's get started by loading up Scratch. And the first thing we want to do is draw a triangle. Okay, to do that using code, you're actually going to need to add an extension into Scratch that will allow you to draw on the canvas or the stage over here. And the way you do that is just go to the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. You've got this blue and white button here, which will allow you to add an extension. Click on it and choose the pen extension. And that will bring in these new blocks of code that you probably haven't seen before in Scratch. They're going to allow us to draw on the screen over here. All right. Now to get started, we need to go to our events like usual and say when the green flag is clicked. Or when we start our game, what do we want to happen? Well, the first thing I want to do is over in the pen tab, I want to bring out the first block that says erase all. We're going to be doing a bit of drawing today with a bit of trial and error. Okay, so each time we press the green flag or run our program, we want to make sure that we start with a blank canvas. Okay, we don't want all the previous drawings we've done still to appear on the page here. We want to erase them all and start fresh. So each time we press the green flag, we've got a blank canvas. Next thing I'm going to do is go to motion and choose point in direction 90 degrees. 90 degrees is facing out towards the right. Okay, so basically the way the cat is facing now, that's the direction we're going to start drawing in today. The next thing we're going to do is head over to our pen tab again, and we're going to set the pen color up. So you can choose what color you want to draw your triangle today. So just click on that color box there and play around with the different levers and you can get different colors. I'm going to keep it simple and just go with black, but you can choose whatever color you would like. Now once we've got those three things set up, we're pretty much ready to start drawing the triangle. So I'm going to go back to my events tab here and bring out another one of the when the green flag is clicked blocks. So when our game starts, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to head back to our pen tab down here. And we're going to use these two blocks of code called pen up and pen down. Okay, you're going to start with pen up. Okay, you've got to imagine in Scratch that this cat over here is like a pen and it's currently pushed down on the page. Each time you move the cat and tell it to move in a certain direction and a certain distance, it's going to draw a line. So wherever the cat goes, a line will follow it. But if you lift your pen up off the page, okay, the cat is not going to have that line following it. Okay, and that's what I want at the start because we're going to move to our starting position. So in motion, we're just going to go to a set of coordinates. So I just want to move it to the left a little bit to start with. So I'm just going to set the X value to -150. The Y value can stay as it is on 0. So my pen's gone up off the page. We've gone to the starting coordinates. We can then go back to the pen tab and put the pen down on the page. So this cat here, which is acting as our pen today, will be put back down on the page. And wherever it moves to now, there's going to have a line following it. Okay, so we are basically ready to start drawing that triangle. So the first thing I'm going to do is just run that to make sure he's in his starting position. Okay, perfect. He's over on the left-hand side of the page, which is what I wanted. Before I start drawing the triangle, I'm going to reduce the size of the cat. Let's just drop him over here in your sprite properties to say 20 or 30%. I'll go 30% for now. And back to our coding. First thing I want to do, we're going to draw a line that goes straight across the page here. That's going to be the base of our triangle. And we're going to draw an equilateral triangle today to keep things simple. So in motion, I'm just going to choose the move 10 steps block and change it to 100 steps. Okay, and that's pretty much going to have our little cat move 100 steps to the right. And as he moves, a black line should follow him. Let's have a look. Perfect. So we've got 100 steps from there to there, and the black line has followed him the whole way. So you've just drawn the first thing that you need for your triangle on the screen. Now to draw the next part of the triangle, we've actually got to turn our cat around. So he's facing up towards the top left. We want him to come back. So we're going to go to the motion tab again, and I'm going to turn in an anti-clockwise direction. So that's to the left. And I'm going to turn 120 degrees. If I run that, you'll just see my cat will change the way he's facing. He's now facing back towards the top left. And if I move 100 steps again, press enter, run the program, you'll see that we get the next part of the triangle. Okay, so I've just got one more line there to finish off. So I'm going to turn left 120 degrees and I'll move it 100 steps just to finish it off and bring it down to this bottom corner. And if I run my program, we've now completed a simple equilateral triangle. Okay, that's all we need to do in Scratch to draw a triangle. But what I want to do now is jump over to a new program and code this triangle up using proper code. Okay, so I'm going to load up a program called Mu. Now, if this is the first time you've loaded up Mu, you're probably going to have this select mode box come up. We want to choose Python 3 and click on OK. You want to start a new file and you'll end up with a screen looking like this. It's just a blank page, which is ready for you to start your text-based coding on. So the first thing we're going to do, the first line of code we're always going to write when we're drawing pictures on the screen using Python code is from turtle import star. So let me explain this to you. Basically, the word turtle is an extra part of the Python programming language that allows us to draw pictures on the screen. So from this turtle library, or module as it's called, it's a library of code written by some other smart person. We're going to import all of that code. That's what that little star means. We're going to import everything from that library. So all that code written by somebody else, we're going to bring it into our program, and that will just allow us to easily code up different shapes and colors on the screen. Probably a little bit confusing if this is your first time using text-based coding, but it's going to make more sense as the term goes on. Okay, so from the turtle module, we're going to import all of the code inside of it, which will allow us to draw on the screen. That's all it's saying. Now, the first thing we're going to do is look back over here. We lifted our pen up off the page. Okay, the way we do that in proper code is we write pen up, bracket, bracket. Okay, that lifts your little pen, or your little turtle as it's called over here in the real coding. We lifted that up off the page. Okay, we then go to a set of coordinates. So it was minus 150, I believe, a little bit to the left, and 0 for the y value. And then we put our pen back down on the page. Okay, so this is your first part of Python coding. We lifted our pen up off the page. We use this bit of code called goto to go to these x and y coordinates. And then we put our pen back down on the page. So as you can see, it's not that much different from the first 3 blocks of code we've got here. Okay, we're then going to tell it to start moving. Alright, so the way we move using real code is simply write the word forward. We're going to move forward 100 steps. Okay, now let's save this. You can't run your program until you've saved it first of all, so let's save this program. Where are we? I might just find a folder for this to go into. We'll give it a meaningful name. We might call it number 1 triangle and save it, and then you can run it. When you run it, a box will pop up and you'll see a line appear on your screen. That little arrow at the end, that's actually the turtle. I know it doesn't look like a turtle, but that's what's going to be drawing on your screen. Okay, so we've just drawn the base of our equilateral triangle just by moving forward 100 steps. Okay, if you press stop at the top there, that'll just stop your program from running, and we can start coding up the next bit. As we saw over here in Scratch, we turned left at 120 degrees. So let's turn left 120 degrees. And if you run it, you're not going to see much change, but that little arrow there, that little turtle has swung around to the left, and he's now ready to draw the next line. Okay, so let's go forward again, 100 steps, run it. You've now got 2 sides of your triangle done. It's no different to what we were doing in Scratch. So I'm just going to finish it off here by writing left 120 degrees. So we've turned ourselves left again. And if we go forward 100 steps, that should finish off our triangle. There we go. So we've just done our first bit of real Python coding to draw ourselves a triangle on the screen. Pretty cool, eh? What we're going to do now though is simplify it. There is a better way to write this code. And as you can see here in this triangle, we've repeated these steps here, move 100 steps and turn 120 degrees. Whoops. We've repeated it over and over again down here. Okay, there's a quicker way to do it. So what I'm going to get you to do in Scratch, I'm going to go to Control here, Events, and I'm going to broadcast a message once we've finished drawing that first triangle. We'll write a new message and we'll just say triangle finished. So as soon as that first triangle's done, we're going to broadcast a message that says the triangle is finished being drawn. And I'm going to bring out when I receive message 1 and just change that to triangle finished. So when I receive this message that the first triangle's finished, I'm going to draw a second one. Okay, so similar kind of code. We're going to lift our pen up off the page. We're going to go to a new set of coordinates though. This time I'm just going to go to 0, 0. So smack bang in the center of my page. Once I'm there, I'm going to put my pen down, ready for drawing. And instead of writing all these blue lines of code over and over again, I'm just going to tell it to repeat itself 3 times. And all we need to do is move 100 steps and turn anti-clockwise 120 degrees. And the computer will repeat that 3 times to draw the 3 sides of our triangle. Let's have a look. There we go. So we've got our next triangle drawn. Pretty simple. Okay, let's try and make that triangle a bit bigger. Okay, instead of moving 100 steps, how about we move 200 steps each time? Okay, let's see what that looks like. There you go. So you've just got another triangle drawn, but bigger. It's double the size. We've gone 200 steps instead of 100 steps. All right. If we want them side by side, I'm wondering if I could just swing this around 120 degrees here. There we go, that probably looks a little bit neater. So if you want, you could put that turn 120 degrees in at the bottom there before we broadcast that final message. Okay, and that will put the triangles side by side. So that looks pretty good. What I'm going to do now is code that up over in Mu using Python. Okay, so we'll leave that original code there. That's the first triangle. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to put a hashtag above pen up and write smaller triangle. What I've done here by putting a hashtag is I've created something called a comment. A comment is basically ignored by the computer. It's just simple, plain English that tells people what is happening in your code. So as the computer reads this code, when it sees the hashtag, it just skips that line completely and it keeps going down here and processes the rest of your program. Okay, so down the bottom, I'm going to put in another comment here that says larger triangle. And I'm just going to make a bit of room down the bottom here to do the code for the larger triangle. Okay, so it's fairly similar to what we've just done. First thing, we lift our pen up off the page so we can then move to or go to a new set of coordinates. The new coordinates we're going to go to, we had 0, 0 in Scratch, so we'll see if that's going to work for us here in this next one. We may have to change a little bit. Once we're in position, we put the pen down, making sure we put those 2 empty brackets at the end. Once the pen is down on the page, we can start writing the code to draw the triangle. Now this is where it gets a little bit confusing. This bit here where we repeat it 3 times, this is known as a loop. Okay, so to write a loop using code, this is one of the hardest things you'll have to do this term, and it's not even that hard. You need to write for I in range, and in brackets, you tell the computer how many times you want to repeat the following code. So I'm going to write 3, put a colon, and press enter. And you'll notice that my mouse cursor has become indented, and that's fine. You want to leave it indented because that tells the computer this is the code that we want to repeat 3 times. So we're going to go forward 200 steps, and then we're going to turn left 120 degrees. Okay, that's all you need to write. The computer will repeat these 2 lines of code 3 times. Okay, a little bit confusing, I know, but it's a lot less code than what we've got up here. Okay, so let's save it, let's test it and see what happens. There's the first triangle, and there's the second one. Okay, if you want them side by side, remember I had to just put that left 120 degrees at the bottom of my first triangle there. See if that fixes it. There we go. So we've got our 2 triangles side by side. Now that's looking good. One little trick I might show you while we're here. If you want to hide this little symbol at the very bottom of your code, you can write hide turtle bracket bracket, and that simply hides that little black arrow or that little turtle once it's finished drawing. Okay, easy as that. One other thing I want to show you too with the coding is you can speed up or slow down how fast your turtle draws. At the top of my page here, I'm going to write in speed, and if I put speed 1, that's the slowest speed the turtle works at. You can see this is quite slow. It's pretty handy for beginners because you can see really slowly where your turtle is going, how it's turning, and what it's drawing. Okay, but as you get better at turtle and you're drawing more complex images, you want to speed it up quite a bit. So it goes all the way up to 10. 10 goes quite quick. If you don't even want to see the animation, speed 0 is what you're looking for. And that's what I generally use when I'm doing bigger projects. So if I write speed 0, bang bang, the 2 triangles appear quite quickly on the screen. So feel free to speed up your animation if you would like. That's all I'm going to show you today in the video. Okay, you've now seen how to transition from block-based coding here in Scratch, okay, over to real coding using Python to draw the exact same thing. So have a go at both of them in Scratch and in Python. And in the next video, we're going to have a crack at drawing a square, again, using both Scratch and Python. So I'll see you in that video.